Heartwarming tale. Poor artist wins billionaire heiress heart, but her legendary revenge unfolds. In the bustling heart of New York City, a love story was about to unfold, a tale that would tie a struggling artist and a billionaire heiress together in ways neither could ever foresee. Jack, a 28-year-old dreamer, spent his days juggling a barista shift and late-night painting sessions in his tiny studio. The walls were adorned with splatters of paint and half-finished canvases. Each vivid landscape represented his struggle, yet also his unwavering hope. Little did he know that one fateful evening, passion would ignite in a coffee shop, leading to a collision of two disparate worlds. As Jack settled into his usual window seat, a haze of steam swirled around him, carrying the rich scent of espresso. He lost himself in the strokes of color on his canvas, the turmoil of his daily life melting away. Just then, he heard laughter, a melodic sound woven into the fabric of the elite gala nearby. Curious, Jack glanced out the window, eyes widening at the glamorous affair unfolding down the street. Glittering gowns and tailored suits flickered under the city lights, a dazzling display of wealth. Intrigued, he pushed the door open and stepped inside, heart racing with every step. It didn't take long before their eyes met. Lily, the stunning heiress, stood among the shimmering crowd, golden hair cascading like sunlight. She was trapped in a world of superficial conversations and pretentious smiles. When she caught sight of Jack, an inexplicable spark ignited within her. Unlike the plastic people surrounding her, he radiated authenticity and fire, each brush stroke on his canvas resonating with a depth she had longed for. Once he learned who she was, Jack felt a tightness in his chest. What could a guy like him possibly offer a woman from such an extravagant world? Meanwhile, Lily felt alive for the first time, drawn to Jack's passion. Their playful banter drifted through the gallery, laughter bubbling freely between them until the weight of societal expectations loomed larger than life. Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system, and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue, but beneath the glamour, tension simmered. Lily's father soon discovered her budding romance and unleashed a wave of fury. "You think you can bring this man into our lives?" His words were piercing, laden with the weight of judgment. The fierce threats aimed at her heart collided with Jack's pride. As they fought against an unyielding world, everything seemed to spiral, misunderstandings growing like vines around their connection. Battling the competitive art scene, Jack faced prejudice and self-doubt. How could he prove himself to the world, to her? Yet, as the tension thickened, the community he cherished began to recognize his artistry. Their support illuminated paths he couldn't see. But at the crossroads of love and loyalty, Jack and Lily grappled with decisive moments. Their hearts pulsed under the weight of expectations, igniting a burning question: could their love conquer all barriers? As misunderstandings mounted, the future remained uncertain, but one spark flickered brightly. A revelation awaited them, as fragile yet powerful as their dreams. They had yet to realize that the most beautiful stories often emerge from the chaos of life. Would Jack's resilience shine through the fog, or would Lily's quest for revenge pull them apart? Only time would tell in this mesmerizing tale of love, struggle, and the sweet dream of success. Under the soft glow of city lights, Jack sat in the crowded coffee shop, his fingers resting nervously on the paint-streaked table. He could feel the weight of uncertain expectations press down on him like an unwelcome chill. His mind wandered to Lily, her laughter, how it shimmered like the stars he often painted in hopes of reaching her world. But reality pinched back, reminding him of their differences, of the looming disapproval waiting like a predator. That night, after closing time, the coffee shop grew quiet. The barista flipped the sign to closed, and the soft hum of jazz filled the space. Jack leaned against the counter, his thoughts swirling with frustration and hope. He wanted to share his world with her, to invite her into his humble studio, an oasis of color and creativity. Yet, he feared the moment she stepped through the door, an explosion of contrasts would shatter the fragile connection they shared. Meanwhile, Lily tossed and turned in her luxurious bed, richly decorated but void of warmth. Her father's words replayed in her mind, echoes of disappointment steeped in privilege. She longed to break free, to be the woman Jack saw beyond the glitzy facade. With every heartbeat, she felt the magnetic pull towards him, yet all the societal ties wrapped around her like chains. The next evening, she found herself making a decision. Summoning courage, Lily reached out to Jack. "Meet me at our place," she texted, excitement bubbling within despite the anxiety gnawing at her heart. "This time, it's just us." Jack rushed through the bustling streets, his heart racing as he made his way to the designated spot. The air was thick with tension and unspoken words. When he spotted Lily waiting by their favored park bench, the sunlight framed her, illuminating her beauty. But in her eyes, he saw a flicker of something deeper, fear, perhaps. "Lily," he breathed, stepping closer. "Are you sure about this? About us?" She took a deep breath, steadying herself. "I can't ignore what's growing between us. I want to be brave to see where it leads." As they sat, a shared vulnerability enveloped them. The wind rustled the leaves, and for the first time, the walls of their worlds crumbled. Jack poured out his dreams, his insecurities tumbling like paint off his brush. Lily listened, her heart swelling with admiration, yet doubts lingered in the corners of her mind. "I want to support you, Jack," she said quietly, "but it won't be easy. My family will never accept this." Jack met her gaze, a shared silence weaving their thoughts together. "I'd fight for you, for us. But can you stand against the tide?" Suddenly, Lily felt doubt flood her. Her father's looming threats felt like an impending storm. Could love truly be stronger than blood ties? As the sun dipped below the skyline, she realized a storm of her own was brewing, an inner battle raging for freedom or loyalty. Before they could unravel the layers of truth and consequence, Jack took her hand. "Whatever happens, I don't want to lose you." But at that moment, shadowy doubts began to claw at Lily's heart. "Jack, what if my father takes action?" she whispered, dread pooling within her. In that heavy moment, the shadows of their reality surrounded them, stretching far beyond the horizon of their budding love. Lily realized that her choice was more than just about Jack. It was about everything she had ever known. The courage to confront her past screamed loudly, but with it came the haunting fear of what might break in its wake. That a lone tear fell, catching the last light of the day as Jack tightened his grip. Would they rise together from the ashes of their realities, or would the fire consume them both? And even more haunting, what precisely was Lily prepared to sacrifice for love? The night closed in around them, darkness settling as they faced an uncertain tomorrow. Lily felt the weight of Jack's hand in hers, anchoring her in that moment, but the reality of their worlds began to swirl like the inevitable autumn leaves around them. An unsettling thought buried deep in her heart suddenly emerged. How long could she resist her father's grasp? "Jack, she faltered, searching for the right words. The confession hung there, heavy and unyielding. "I want to fight this, but my father has a way of making threats happen." Jack's expression hardened slightly, a glimpse of anger flaring in his eyes. "What kind of threats, Lily? You can't live in fear." With trembling hands, she drew back and ran her fingers through her hair, seeking clarity. She was caught in a storm of privilege and expectation. "He controls everything, my future, the people I meet. It's suffocating." "But you control your heart," Jack replied, his voice fierce yet gentle, urging her to reclaim her power. "You know what you feel for me is real. Isn't that worth fighting for?" She looked into his eyes, the pools of blue that always felt like home. The uncertainty simmered, but so did a flicker of hope. I'm scared. What if he tries to separate us?" Jack sighed, frustration creeping in. "Do you really think he could? You have your own strength too, Lily. It's not just about what he wants." Silence blanketed them, edged by the distant sounds of the night. In that shared moment, a decision was stirring within her. Perhaps she had been measuring courage only by the lens of rebellion against her father. What if there was another way? Jack leaned closer, brushing her cheek with his thumb. "What if we face this together? You don't have to do it alone. His touch ignited something warm inside her. She felt the stirrings of resilience, pushing back against the shadows of her upbringing. Their pasts were tangled, yet here they were, a new path unfolding before them. I haven't told you everything, she murmured, guilt threading through her heart. My father, he's not just protective. He's dangerous. He won't let me go easily. A flicker of concern flashed in Jack's eyes. Dangerous how? The family name, our business is all that matters to him. If I defy him, there will be consequences. You might get hurt. Jack's jaw clenched, determination replacing fear. Then let us come up with a plan. You can't make this choice alone. We'll figure out how to keep you safe while charting a future for us. He paused, gauging her reaction. But you have to be all in, Lily. This is going to take everything we've got. After a long moment of hesitation, Lily's heart thundered like a drum in her chest. But what if my father retaliates? What if he tries to take everything away? It's a risk, Jack admitted, but there was no wavering in his voice. Sometimes, what's worth having comes with danger. But remember, this love is fierce and transformative. We can find a way around his threats, but you have to trust me. As Lily inhaled sharply, a mix of anxiety and pride bubbled within her. She was standing at a tipping point. The fear that once held her captive started to unravel under the confidence in Jack's gaze. And what if that risk tears us apart? She breathed, a single tear betraying her resolve. Jack squeezed her hand tighter, a promise whispered in the starry night. Then we'll face that together too. But I refuse to live in a world where we don't fight for what's ours. Lily's heart raced as the grit in Jack's voice ignited hope. She could see their road ahead, fraught with obstacles but undeniably intertwined. Okay, let us do this, she finally said, her voice trembling. Let us fight for us. As they made a pact under the awakened moonlight, they were blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in the distance. A figure watched from the shadows, a sinister smile playing on their lips. Little did Lily know, her father's plans were already set into motion, a game she had yet to comprehend. How would they contend with the impending collision of their worlds? Would their love be enough to withstand the looming threats? The night deepened, the darkness brimming with uncertainty, waiting for dawn's reckoning. The next morning, Lily woke to the sun pouring through her window. It felt like a blessing, pushing against the shadows that had lingered in her mind. She clutched her blanket, recalling the vows she and Jack had made. They would fight, together. Her heart fluttered with a mixture of excitement and dread. As she dressed, her thoughts spiraled around the dangers Jack had brought up. What would it mean for her father to know about them? The thought of his wrath sent shivers down her spine. She could almost hear her father's voice, booming through the halls, warning of consequences. Lily dashed down the stairs, 2 steps at a time. Her mother was in the kitchen, humming softly as she prepared breakfast. The scent of pancakes filled the air, a hint of normalcy in the midst of chaos. Morning, sweetie. Her mother called, smiling brightly. Big day today? You have that meeting, right? Yeah, just a regular meeting, Lily replied, forcing a smile. Nothing to worry about. Her mother eyed her carefully but chose to let it go. As they sat at the table, Lily's heart raced with every bite of her pancakes. She wanted to tell her mother everything but feared it would create more tension within their already strained household. Suddenly, her phone buzzed. She checked it under the table, her pulse quickening when she saw Jack's message. Meet me at the park after school? We need to talk. After school felt like an eternity. Each passing minute dragged on, filled with the usual chatter. Friends talked about weekend plans, but all Lily could think about was the weight of her father's expectations looming over her. Finally, the bell rang, and she hurried outside, the crisp air hitting her like a splash of cold water. When she arrived at the park, Jack was leaning against a tree, his back to her. The moment he turned to face her, his worry carved deep lines across his forehead. Hey, he said softly, stepping closer. I've been thinking, we should act fast. Your dad won't just sit back if he finds out about us. Lily nodded, her heart sinking. I know. It's just so complicated. I can't bear the thought of you getting hurt because of me. Jack's expression shifted, a steely resolve taking over. We can't let fear dictate our choices. We owe it to each other to explore this. His eyes searched hers, filled with determination. What if we start by getting some help? Help? She repeated, confusion dancing on her face. Maybe we can't just think our way around your dad's influence. What if we look for allies? People who can counterbalance what he has? The idea struck her. Allies, people who believed in them. The thought stirred hope. You mean like friends, or maybe even family? He nodded. Your mother might understand more than you think. And I have a few connections who could lend some backup if needed. Lily felt a rush of warmth, cradled by Jack's unfaltering bravery. But alongside that warmth was the nagging doubt. What if your connections aren't strong enough? Jack stepped closer, his voice low but intense. Then we find more. I refuse to let your father dictate our lives, Lily. Don't you want to choose your own path? Of course I do, she whispered, resolve building within her. As they plotted their next move, the atmosphere around them shifted. The world felt alive, charged with intensity. Jack's hand reached for hers, grounding her even more as she contemplated what was ahead. Promise me, he said seriously, whatever happens, we stick together. I promise, she breathed, squeezing his hand tighter. But as they exchanged vows of loyalty, a car pulled up nearby, and out stepped a familiar face, her father. Lily froze, heart racing. The games had begun, and she was about to realize just how high the stakes really were. Would their fight for love be enough against the might of a determined father? With adrenaline flowing through her veins, she knew this was only the beginning. Lily's breath caught in her throat as her father ambled towards the park, a force of nature with his power suit and serious demeanor. Every instinct screamed at her to hide, to run, but Jack's grip on her hand anchored her in place. She glanced at him, fear mingling with defiance in her eyes. Stay close, Jack murmured, his voice steady despite the chaos swirling around them. Lily's father approached, his eyes hardening as he took in the scene, Lily, standing too close to Jack, whose casual attire contrasted sharply with his own polished look. She could sense the tension building like static in the air. Lily, he boomed, ignoring Jack. What are you doing here? Jack stepped forward, unflinching. We're just talking, sir. Her father's glare fixated on him, narrowing in suspicion. You're Jack, right? The one I warned to stay away from my daughter. Lily felt a surge of anger bubble up. Dad, it's not like that. Jack isn't a threat. But her voice trembled, betraying her resolve. Then what is it? He challenged, crossing his arms. Just two friends, is it? Or is there something more? The air felt thick with unspoken words, each second stretching into eternity. She could see Jack's jaw clench, his eyes alight with determination, and it gave her courage. Dad, please, she said, her voice gaining strength. I can make my own choices. I'm not a child anymore. His face twisted, a mixture of surprise and disappointment. You think you can decide what's best for you? You have no idea what you're getting into. This, he gestured between Jack and Lily, is reckless. Lily felt a rush of defiance, her heart beating wildly. Maybe being in love doesn't always make sense, but it's real. I won't let you control my life anymore. Her father's expression hardened further. You're talking about a relationship with a boy who has no background, no future. I've worked too hard for our family's reputation to let it get tarnished. Every word felt like a physical blow, but Lily stood her ground. You're thinking about appearances, not what's in my heart. Jack, now visibly affected, took a deep breath. I'm not trying to mess up Lily's life. I just want to be here for her. And I promise, I'll do everything I can to prove I can be trusted. With a quick glance at Jack, her resolve steadied. She remembered this was their fight, and it was time to stand united. You don't know him, Dad. You've only seen what you want to see. A beat of silence hung in the air, and for a moment, her father looked taken aback. He shifted, visibly weighing his next words. You think this is just a phase? That it will pass? No. She blurted, frustration surging. This is real. You don't get to decide who I care for. Her father's face flushed crimson, a mixture of anger and disbelief. I won't stand by and watch you throw your future away. This isn't just about you, it's about our family's honor. With those words, her heart sank. How could he not see that love was part of that future? Honor isn't everything, Jack interjected fiercely. Sometimes it's about happiness and who you choose to share your life with. Lily felt a swell of pride in Jack. He was right. But what would her father think? Would he ever understand? Her father studied Jack, then turned his gaze back to Lily, disappointment heavy in his eyes. You're making a mistake, and I can't be a part of it. And then he walked away, leaving behind an electric silence that screamed of consequences. Lily, Jack began, stepping toward her. But she was paralyzed, staring into the space where her father had stood. What if he's right? Her voice cracked, vulnerability spilling over. Jack reached for her, concern etched across his face. Lily, we'll find a way. I promise. But deep down, fear gnawed at her. If her father's view of family honor could be achieved at the cost of her happiness, how far would he go to protect it? As night fell, Lily knew she was standing on the edge of something monumental, a crossroads that would change everything. The stakes were highest now. How could she fight against the person who should have been protecting her? And looming over her was the haunting question, was their love strong enough to withstand the storm that would surely follow? Lily stood in the fading light, her heart thundering in her chest while a cool breeze ruffled her hair. The park now felt hauntingly empty, shadows lengthening like dark fingers clutching memories of the confrontation that had just unfolded. Jack's warmth beside her was a flicker of comfort against the chill that settled deep within her. I can't believe he just walked away, she breathed, unable to shake the knot in her stomach. Jack kept his eyes on hers, filled with a blend of sympathy and steadfastness. He's not giving up. He'll try to get to you through someone else. But Lily, we have each other, and that has to mean something. But what if he's right? She whispered, guilt creeping up her spine. What if I'm putting us both in danger? Danger? Jack echoed, incredulous. You're suffering because of his need to control your life, not because of anything between us. He took a step closer, his voice lower. We'll figure this out together. I promise I won't let anything happen to you. The sincerity in his eyes brought tears to her own. Despite her father's words, she could see Jack's unwavering commitment like a shield she desperately wanted to hold on to. But the reality of her situation seeped in. Would she have to fight her father every step of the way? I don't want to lose you, Jack. Her voice trembled. What if he uses everything against us? What if I lose my family in the process? Then maybe it's time to redefine what family means to you. Jack's grip tightened on her hand, a declaration of support. You deserve happiness, Lily. And if he can't understand that, then it's not your fault. She pondered his words, feeling torn between loyalty and love. Was she brave enough to forge a new path? The park began to empty, families heading home and street lamps flickering alive one by one, casting an ethereal glow over the fading dusk. Let us go for a walk, Jack suggested, his voice warm and inviting. We can find a quiet place to talk. They meandered down the path, their footsteps muffled by the grass. As they walked, Lily's mind raced with thoughts of rebellion against her father's hold. What if I just tell him how I feel? No more hiding. No more pretending. Jack's face lit up with an encouraging smile. That's the spirit. But you might have to prepare for a fight, a verbal one, that is. Your father isn't likely to change his stance. I'm ready, she declared. But deep inside, uncertainty clawed at her. She could almost hear her father's voice echoing in her mind: honor, future, reputation. They paused under a tree, the leaves rustling softly in the gentle breeze. Jack leaned in, brushing his thumb across her cheek. What's really scaring you, Lily? What if he goes too far? She confessed, her voice barely a whisper. What if he tries to ruin you? Let him try, Jack said fiercely. Because he won't succeed. Not while I'm here. His confidence steadied her, igniting a fire of determination within. I can't let him control my feelings, my happiness anymore. Jack's eyes sparkled with pride. That's the Lily I know. Just remember, when you confront him, you need your voice to be heard. You're stronger than you think. The night air buzzed with the promise of change. But right then, their sanctuary felt fragile, as if everything could come crashing down around them with one ill-fated decision. Was she truly prepared for the confrontation ahead, or was she teetering on the edge of a precipice? Lily's heart raced with anticipation, a rush of hope mingling with fear. Tomorrow would be pivotal, a turning point that could shape their destinies. Let us go, she said suddenly, pulling Jack's hand. I need to be ready for what's coming. As they turned to leave the park, her heartbeat quickening at the thought of facing her father, one thought dominated her mind. Could love really conquer all, or would it lead to a fierce battle for the life she yearned to live? And in the shadows behind them, the echoes of her father's disappointment loomed, waiting for the inevitable clash. Lily woke early the next morning, the sun spilling through her window like a warm embrace. The moment felt surreal, a stark contrast to the turmoil swirling in her mind. She glanced at the clock and felt a mix of dread and excitement. Today was the day. After forcing down a quick breakfast, she stood in front of the mirror, examining her reflection. The determined look in her eyes was reassuring, yet a wave of anxiety washed over her. What if her voice cracked? What if her father dismissed her feelings? Just remember, Lily, she whispered to herself, you have to be strong. You deserve happiness. Jack's words echoed in her mind, fueling her resolve. Dressed in her favorite sundress, a soft pastel that reminded her of spring, she stepped out of the house and into the brisk morning air. She felt lighter, as if she were shedding layers of fear with each step she took. As she approached Jack's house, she spotted him waiting on the porch, a smile lighting up his face. Ready? Jack asked, his eyes sparkling with anticipation. For better or for worse, she replied, trying to muster bravado, but the flutter in her stomach betrayed her. They walked hand in hand toward her father's office, the well-trodden path feeling more daunting than ever. Each step resembled a countdown, the sound of their shoes against the pavement a constant reminder of the confrontation that awaited. Arriving at the imposing building, Lily's heart raced. She hesitated for just a moment, taking in the impressive facade that had always symbolized her father's power. Jack squeezed her hand, grounding her, reminding her why they were here. Let us go, she said, her voice steadier than she felt. Inside, the atmosphere shifted. A sense of gravity settled over her like a heavy blanket. Her father's office loomed ahead, the door a barrier between her old life and the new one she longed to create. Lily took a deep breath, then knocked. Come in, her father called, his voice echoing in the spacious room. Pushing the door open, they stepped inside. Her father looked up from his desk, and the look on his face twisted into a mix of surprise and irritation. What's this? He asked, eyeing Jack. Dad, we need to talk, Lily said, surprising herself with the confidence in her tone. About what, exactly? He snapped, leaning back in his chair. I'm tired of pretending. I want to live my life on my own terms. Her father's eyebrows furrowed. And I suppose you think he's part of that plan? He gestured dismissively at Jack. Yes. Lily exclaimed, her voice ringing out with a clarity she hadn't expected. I love Jack. And I can't keep letting you dictate who I am and what I want. I deserve to make my own choices. For a moment, silence hung heavily in the air. Her father's eyes narrowed, a coldness creeping into his expression that sent chills down her spine. You think you can just waltz in here and decide how things will go? It doesn't work like that, Lily. Maybe it should. Her heart pounded as her bravery stood firm against his fierce gaze. I can't live in this cage anymore. You have to understand that I care about Jack, and I choose him over a life of rules I didn't ask for. Jack's presence beside her started to feel like more than just moral support, it felt like her anchor. I won't allow it, her father's voice tightened, a storm brewing in his eyes. You'll regret this decision. The weight of his words pressed against Lily's chest, but a spark of defiance ignited within her. You may try to control everything, but this is my life. I refuse to be afraid anymore. Jack studied her, a mixture of pride and concern on his face. I know this is hard for you, he said slowly, but real love means standing up for each other. And Lily's right. She deserves to be happy. Her father's expression shifted, rage bubbling just beneath the surface. You're a foolish boy, thinking you can just take my daughter from me, he warned. Lily felt the room shift, anticipation and fear twisting in the air. This was no longer just a family matter, they were at the edge of a war. What would her father do next? Would he fight for control, or would he finally see the truth? And then, in that tense silence, the unexpected happened. The phone on her father's desk began to ring, shattering the moment. As he reached for it, Lily couldn't shake the feeling that this was just the beginning. Was she prepared for the fallout? Would her father's anger unleash something more than just words? Tomorrow was not just another day. It was the beginning of the rest of her life. The phone's shrill ring cut through the heavy atmosphere, the noise jolting everyone in the room. Lily's heart thudded harder in her chest, each beat echoing the uncertainty of what was to come. Her father, still staring daggers, picked up the receiver with an abrupt movement, his anger momentarily interrupted. Hello? He grunted, his eyes never leaving Lily's, making her feel like a pawn caught between two opposing forces. The voice on the other end was muffled, but his demeanor shifted as he listened intently, eyebrows knitting together. Lily barely registered the conversation. She was too busy analyzing every flicker of emotion across her father's face. This was her chance. While his attention was diverted, the conversation unfolding in his ear might provide her just a window of opportunity to press on before his simmering rage boiled over again. Jack squeezed her hand, grounding her once more. You're doing great, he murmured quietly, a reassuring presence in a stormy sea. Her father's voice turned sharp, an edge creeping in. What do you mean, a meeting today? I'm busy. The tension radiated through the room as he glanced between the phone and Lily. This is about Lily. I can't just drop everything. Lily could see a flicker of panic in his expression, and her resolve surged. The moment felt fragile, yet exactly right. She took a deep breath, the air thick with anxiety but lighter somehow. Knowing now was not the time to withdraw, she flung caution aside. Dad, she interjected, her voice steady. I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you. Jack is not just some boy. He is someone who makes me feel alive. I deserve to choose my own path, even if it's not the one you envisioned. Her father shot her a glare before returning to the phone. Excuse me, he snapped, his voice a low growl. Lily, please. He couldn't mask the defeat behind the anger, the whole facade teetering, but the moment hung like a pendulum, and she was determined to push it. Why are you so afraid of my happiness? The words escaped her, filled with both trepidation and conviction. The room went silent after that, her father suckering in a breath as if he were about to fight back. I want you to be proud of me, but not at the cost of my health, at the cost of my heart. He opened his mouth to respond, but before he could utter a word, the intercom buzzed, leading him into a moment of hesitation. What? He barked, visibly annoyed. Meeting rescheduled. You have to be there in 10 minutes. A big client wants to discuss an investment. The voice through the speaker was impartial to the drama unfolding. It felt almost comical, and yet it cut through the tension like a knife. His back straightened as if he was jolted by a lightning strike. I'll be right there, he replied curtly, his authoritative tone signaling enough already. The door loomed larger in that instant, a temporary escape from this confrontation, from Lily's conviction that he hung up and faced them, the storm of emotions swirling behind his cold, calculated exterior. This isn't over, Lily, he warned, his jaw tight. Lily stepped forward, emboldened by the moment. I won't back down. I can't. I have to live my life. Don't test me, he warned again, but his eyes flickered with uncertainty. Jack shifted beside her, a supportive force. Maybe it's time to meet on common ground, sir. What do you know about common ground? Her father's voice was ice, but Jack's confident posture seemed to break through the walls around him. The atmosphere crackled with uncertainty. Would her father ultimately strike an accord? Or would he fight tooth and nail to pull her back into his world, into the restrictions she longed to escape? Sometimes what we think is control is just fear of the unknown, Jack ventured, voice steady, his eyes holding her father's gaze firmly. Lily could see her father's expression shift slightly, a flicker of something, a recognition? Perhaps self-doubt? It was a weakness, a slight chink appearing in his armor, and she felt her hopes swelled as her father collected himself, turning on his heels and starting for the door. She couldn't shake the gnawing feeling that this confrontation might bury deeper issues. You can't ignore this forever, she called after him, but he brushed past her, no longer a figure of authority, but a man grappling with elements he thought he could control. Jack turned to Lily, his expression both proud and worried. You did it. You stood your ground. But as happiness surged within her, so did a shadow of doubt. What had she truly accomplished? Tomorrow, in this house, we may have a further reckoning, Jack said, uncertainty flickering across his features. We can't ignore how far this could go. She nodded, realizing the battle was far from over. Tomorrow would be yet another day of choices, but now the stakes were more personal than ever. As they stepped out of her father's office, Lily couldn't help but wonder, was it truly courage she felt, or just the calm before a more explosive storm? The next morning dawned with a heavy fog draping over the city, cloaking everything in a muted silence. As Lily sat at the breakfast table, she could feel the tension simmering in the air, thick and undeniable. Her father hadn't spoken to her since their confrontation, opting instead to pour himself into his newspaper, a fortress of unread words shielding him from both her and reality. Good morning, Lily, her mother said softly as she entered the room, her hair pulled back and her expression weary. Did you sleep okay? Not really, Lily admitted, absently stirring her coffee. Just thinking about, well, everything. Her mother sighed, setting down the plate of toast she had just prepared. I know this is difficult, sweetheart. Your father, he means well, even if it doesn't always seem like it. Does he? Is trying to control my life really caring? The frustration spilled out before she could catch herself. It's complicated, her mother responded carefully. You know how he is about the family business. He fears losing you to, well, what he doesn't understand. Lily sank back in her chair, feeling a knot tighten in her stomach. But I'm not asking for much. Just a chance to be me. As the silence grew, she heard the faintest ring of her phone. Jack's name lit up the screen, and her heart leaped before she realized how much she needed this conversation. Sorry, I'll be right back, she said, making her way out of the dining room. Once outside, she answered. Hey. Hey. I was wondering how you were holding up after yesterday. I'm okay, I guess, she replied, forcing a smile that he couldn't see. Just another day in the war zone. Jack chuckled lightly. You're stronger than you think, Lily. If your father could see that, see what? That I'm just a rebellious teenager? That I'm risking everything he has built? There was frustration in her voice, and Jack paused before speaking. He doesn't see the you underneath all that pressure, he said firmly. He is scared, and while we can't change his mind overnight, we have to keep having these conversations. I don't know how many more I can take, Jack. Tears threatened to spill over, and she blinked them back fiercely. It feels like a fight I can't win. You already won part of it, he replied gently. You stood up to him. That's not nothing. And you've got me in your corner. We're in this together. Thanks, she murmured, feeling the warmth of his words wrap around her. Even in the darkest moments, he was her beacon. What are you thinking we should do next? Well, I have an idea for today, he said, his tone shifting to excitement. Let us plan a small outing. Just you and me. Something to clear your head before tomorrow's big talk. Lily felt the weight on her chest, if only for a moment, lift. She envisioned a place away from these four walls, their haven, even if temporary. That sounds amazing. Where? Surprise. I'll pick you up at noon, he said playfully before adding, where something comfortable. Okay. The anticipation bubbled inside her, a flicker of hope igniting. I'll see you then. After hanging up, she found her mother eyeing her knowingly upon re-entering the kitchen. Where are you off to in such high spirits? Just a day with Jack. A small smile broke across her mother's face. Sometimes a little distance is all we need to figure out what we want. Later, as the morning turned to afternoon, Lily stood at her window, watching the world move outside. She could hear her father's muffled voice from the office, but it wasn't as piercing as it had been before. She took a deep breath, allowing the air to fill her lungs, feeling a rush of determination flow through her veins. The thoughts of her upcoming conversation loomed, but at that moment, she chose to focus on the joy of the day ahead. She dressed carefully, choosing a light, breezy outfit that made her feel free. She could practically hear the whispers of adventure. Would this outing help her find clarity? Could it possibly strengthen her resolve for the reckoning to come? As she stepped outside into the crisp air, she couldn't shake the feeling that even though she was marching into the unknown, she was not alone. The calm before the storm was beginning to feel like a chance for something brighter. The weight of the day still loomed ahead, but Lily held on to the belief that this was just the beginning of her own journey. As she walked, a question slipped into her mind: what if the fight for herself brought about unexpected changes for everyone else, too? Lily and Jack stepped into the sun-drenched park, laughter bubbling up like a sparkling fountain. Everything about the day felt different, lighter, freer. She'd spent too long trapped in her father's overwhelming shadow, and now, with Jack by her side, each step felt emboldened, like she was finally unearthing the girl she'd always been beneath the layers of expectation. Jack grinned as they wandered deeper into the park, the colors of the flowers vibrant around them. You're gonna love this place, he said, excitement lacing his voice. It's just what you need, a little escape. As they approached a small lake glimmering under the sun, Lily felt a smile break across her face. It's gorgeous, she exclaimed, the worries of the world slipping away with each heartbeat. The water mirrored the clear blue sky, a perfect reflection that perfectly matched the clarity forming inside her. Let us rent a paddleboat, Jack suggested, his energy infectious. They hopped onto a brightly colored yellow boat, and Jack grabbed the oars, ready to push them into the shimmering water. As they started gliding, Lily let the gentle rhythm soothe her, its soft creaks and splashes blending harmoniously with the sounds of laughter around them. This is amazing, she sighed, feeling the tension from days of conflict begin to fade. Jack paused, an intense focus in his gaze as he paddled. You know, every moment we spend ignoring our truth just builds up anger and fear. But look at us now, free. Lily nodded, brushing her fingers across the water, creating ripples in the otherwise smooth surface. You're right. I've been so focused on what my father would think that I forgot about what I really want. As they chatted, a shared hope blossomed between them. Jack spoke of dreams and art, of changing the world through paint. Lily interjected her own aspirations, the urge to dive deep into creativity rather than staying trapped in someone else's expectations. With laughter, they forged a bond that felt like a powerful promise. It illuminated the dark corners of their lives. As they returned to shore, the sun began to set, casting a golden hue across their memories of the day. Somewhere inside that warmth, Lily unearthed her fierce spirit again. Her love for Jack was strong, and it was time to face her father once more. Thank you for today, Jack, she whispered beneath the gathering twilight. I needed this more than you know. As they reached the park's entrance, excitement mixed with dread twisted inside her belly. The thought of confronting her father inspired the adrenaline to rush through her. It was now or never. Are you ready? Jack asked, a gentle seriousness in his gaze. You're going to own this. With a deep breath, Lily nodded, determination settling in her heart. I'm ready, she affirmed, her voice steady as she took Jack's hand, the warmth of his grip giving her strength. When they approached her house, the air shifted, the atmosphere thick with anticipation. Lily could feel her heart racing, but there was something new: confidence. This was her moment, she had to make it count. Let us go, Jack encouraged, the tension infused with promise. He squeezed her hand reassuringly. Inside, Lily could hear her father's conversation through the closed office door, a low rumble of authority. He wouldn't expect her to confront him twice in a matter of days. But the resolve she found with Jack felt solid, and before she could second-guess herself, she knocked. Come in, her father's voice echoed, low and laden with power. As they entered, the sight of her father, strong and imposing behind his desk, momentarily stole her breath. She felt Jack's reassuring presence beside her, and she squared her shoulders, channeling all the courage she had mustered over the past few days. Dad, we need to talk, she began, her voice steady but laced with urgency. The look on her father's face morphed from surprise to anger, eyes narrowing. You again? How many times must I remind you that this is foolishness? You're ignoring what's at stake. No, Dad. I'm embracing what I want, she countered, her heartbeat drumming louder as the fight inside her built. I love Jack, and I won't back down. Not again. His expression darkened, but she pushed forward, raw emotion spilling over. It's not foolish. It's real. This is about my life, my happiness. You don't get to dictate my future anymore. Jack took a step forward, his presence firm and unwavering. Sir, I care deeply for Lily. I won't take her away from anything good, but I will always support her choices. They matter. Her father scowled, but Lily could see cracks forming in the facade he'd built around himself. This is not just about you. Lily interjected, indignation rushing out. You think I owe you my happiness? That I need to fulfill your expectations? But these are my dreams, my choices. I'm not afraid of the risks if it means I can be true to myself. Silence enveloped them, thick with unperceived weight. For a heartbeat, a flicker of understanding crossed her father's features, challenging the stubbornness that had always governed him. You're just a child, he muttered, though it lacked its earlier vehemence. No, I'm not. I see my path now, and I choose to walk it. For a second, the room hung suspended, the energy shifting from confrontation to understanding as her father grappled with the truth of her words. Maybe we could discuss this, he began hesitantly, while Lily's heart surged with hope. Just then, a moment of realization washed over her, a glimpse of the man beneath the hardened exterior. I want to find common ground. But it's hard when you don't see me. Fingers trembling, she spotted a glimmer of vulnerability flicker in her father's gaze. Perhaps there was still a chance for change, perhaps they could navigate the turbulent waters together. With Jack's hand in hers, she felt like two souls unwilling to let go of their dreams. They could face the storm together. And maybe, just maybe, her father could find acceptance. As the words of opportunity hung in the air, a newfound hope blossomed, not just for Lily and Jack, but for a family bound together by love rather than fear. Tomorrow might still hold challenges, but this moment marked the dawn of a new beginning, a chance to redefine their path. Before the confrontation stretched into amicable territory, Lily took a deep breath. Thank you for listening. And that was when she realized, standing defiant yet hopeful, that love could stitch fractured ties and guide them towards understanding. Lily smiled at Jack, a radiant confirmation of the journey ahead, uncertain, yes, but filled with promise. This was their story. And it was just getting started. Now that you've finished this heartwarming conclusion, don't wait another second to be part of this journey. You need to subscribe now to ensure you never miss our next exclusive stories. Hit that like button immediately to feed the algorithm and keep the magic alive. Comment below with your reactions and feelings about this inspiring ending. And share this video with at least 5 friends who need to believe in love and the power of change. This is the moment to show your support.